Hi. In Lesson 1, Step 2, we're going to talk about how to use composition, sharpness, and color to help you select the best photos to hang on your wall. In Step 1, you got rid of your photo fails and made a quick first selection of photos. In this step, we'll talk about how to choose the best photo from among the photos that you already selected. And this is where composition, sharpness, and color are key. Unlike photos that you keep digitally, or even those that you print in a photo book, you'll see photos on the wall every day, which is totally awesome. But it also means that they need to be great photos and that they will fit well in your interior space. To choose the best photos, you need to consider the photo's quality, the space where you'll hang it, and how it makes you feel. When you put these three things together, the photo's quality, your interior, and your feeling, you'll choose the perfect photo for your wall. Let's start with photo quality, which is largely determined by a photo's composition and its sharpness. Of course, resolution is also important, but it's such a big topic that we'll talk about that one in an upcoming lesson. Photo composition is something with which you've probably had a lot of experience. Well-composed photos are pleasing to the eye and will also direct the viewer's eyes to what you, as the photographer, want them to see. Since wall prints will be viewed regularly, sometimes by many people that are in our lives, in our homes, their composition is especially important. You're not looking for photos to put on social media. You're selecting photos to print and feel good looking at every day. So you want to make sure the composition is good, which generally means that it uses one of the main composition rules. Of course, there are many essential composition rules, but let's take a look at just a few of them in photos shot by some of Exposure's ambassadors. So here we have a photo by Albert Dross that he took in Scotland. And if you want to check what a composition is, so this one is perfect for the rule of thirds. What I'm going to do, I'm here in Lightroom and I'm under the Develop category. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on my crop tool. And oops, this doesn't show you what we wanted to look at. We wanted to see if it's rule of thirds. So there you can see this fits the rule of thirds because it has a very nice line here with the nice skyline here. It's a little bit darker there. So the main points, the big architecture of the stones, those fit around these points. So the screen is divided and that looks great. So let's look at another photo that uses a different composition rule. So I used here to click on and off. But you can also do that just with your R button. So if you want to just turn off that crop tool. So I'm going to scroll over to our next photo. This one is also lovely. This is also by Albert Dross, but it's one that he took in the Netherlands. And it's a great example of leading lines because you just want to walk down this lane, don't you? I mean, it's just leading us into the picture beautifully. So if you have a composition in which your photo uses this type of line. It doesn't have to be starting here in the photo, obviously, but this is an example of a beautiful leading lines composition. And I'm going to scroll on over to our next photo to look at. Another Albert Dross photo. This one is from Italy. And I'm going to hit the R button to switch into the crop. Actually, you can see here, this works well for the rule of thirds too, because it has just the way he has composed this photo is beautiful. But I'm also going to check because I also think it might work with the golden spiral. So I'm going to go down into Tools. I'm going to go into my Crop Guide Overlay, and I'm going to scroll down to the golden spiral. And here you can see perfectly that this photo is composed using the golden spiral rules as well. So if I want to, I can come back up here to Tools and go down to Crop Overlay again and choose a different one. So let's just switch back to thirds. But I can also just hit the O key, and then I'm going to be scrolling through the different composition rules that are the most common ones. So when you're looking at your photos, you can use a few of these or any of the other numerous composition rules there are when you're looking at the quality of the photo. Now, about photo sharpness. This one is pretty straightforward. If you have two photos to choose from, you want to always choose the one that is the most sharp for your photo on the wall. But how do you do that? Well, let's take a look in Lightroom. We're going to put two photos next to each other, and then we're going to be able to compare which one is the most sharp. So we're going to look at them both. Now here, this is you're like, what is this? This is a photo that we took that's in the Amazing Photography book, and it's a do-it-yourself trick about tripods, but that's all I'm going to say. You'll have to see the rest in the book. But what you want to do to check the sharpness of a photo is make sure that you're in the library section of Lightroom. And then you're going to want to select the two photos that you're going to want to compare. So I'm going to press Command-click because I'm on a Mac, but if you were on a Windows computer, then you would do Control-click. And then I'm going to come on up here to the XY button, and then I'm going to get to see my photos next to each other. So these are the two photos that I want to compare. I'm going to go ahead and get out of that and just show you another way to do it. If I have just my one photo and I want to compare these two, once again, I select them both, but another way to do that is just to simply hit the C, and that's going to put me in the compare mode. And what's great here is I can use my space bar just to zoom in and have a look. So, okay, this zoomed me in really far. Let's use our mouse to slide over a little bit, and okay, well, this makes it pretty easy. This one is sharp and this one is not. So that makes choosing a sharp photo really pretty easy. Okay, let's move on. After considering the quality of your photos, it's time to consider where you will hang them. Photo wall prints look great in every interior, from your living room to your bedroom, the hallway, the kitchen, or even a professional space such as a business or office. They'll become part of what makes that space special. So when you're reviewing your photos, you'll want to consider the color and style of both the photos and the space where they will hang. In general, you'll want to choose photos with colors that work with the colors in your space. That may mean that the colors are in the same family or have the same tones, or it may mean colors that are nearly opposite if you really want your photos to pop. In this space, I've hung photos that aren't the same color as my wall, but the tones work well together. The extra purples and the yellow and the orange and the pink, they make the space brighter, and I like that. You can also look to a color wheel to find colors that match in general. Find opposite colors on the wheel and you'll see that they look great together. Keep in mind, you don't need to have the same amount of each color in your photo for it to be great. When an interior has more understated colors, it can be fun to choose a photo print that brings a burst of color to your space. Well, that's basically what I've done here. I have a nice gray wall, but with these photos on it, it's as if it makes the wall really anything but boring. But what if you have the perfect photo and the color just doesn't quite match with your space? Well, luckily you can adjust it all in Lightroom. So let's have a look together. So this is a photo that I think is really pretty and would actually look great in my bedroom, except that there are a few things about it that I don't like. I don't like this hot pink stuff. So what I'm going to do in Lightroom is switch to the develop mode, and that's where I can adjust all the colors myself. So I have scrolled down to the hue here. You open up all on the side here. So I've gotten to HSL. So that's where we look at hue, saturation, and luminance of a picture. And I can adjust the photo just using these bars. I can bring it darker or lighter. So if I wanted to get rid of that color that was there, I can do that scrolling on any of these. If I want to reset it, I just quickly reset and I go back to what the photo was. But if I am feeling particularly lazy, I can also simply click on this button. Here we go. And so I'm going to select this one, and that's the one that then if I hold down, I can just drag up and down, moving my finger on my keypad to see what I want to do. So, well, I kind of like that. I also want to try some other things. I'm going to play around with saturation a little bit. So I'm going to click out of that. I'm going to reset my photo. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to see what happens if I come in and I'm going to try and adjust the saturation of this one. So I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to scroll with my finger, and you can see it's moving the bar. And basically, you can use this to adjust your photos any way you want. So I've gotten rid of a lot of that. I'm going to see if I can make this one maybe a little bit brighter or darker. And that's how you can really get the photo that matches exactly what you want in your room. Maybe I want it even a little bit more, just playing around here, but let's say I wanted it even deeper purple or more blue. With scrolling with all these, I can make it fit actually the color that I already have in my space, which is really great. So I hope you have fun. You can adjust your colors and just make sure that whatever photo that you're going to have on the wall also fits with the color scheme that is in your room and that you want to create. So we've talked about how you can adjust the color in your photos, but what if you want to have an idea of what it really would look like in your room? Well, we have a great do-it-yourself trick that you could use. So what you're going to want to do is take your camera, take your phone, or whatever you can use to quickly take a picture of the wall or the space where you would like to hang your photo. So you're going to want to get back far enough so that you can also get the furniture and see the wall. Go ahead and take that, and what you want to do is drag it then into Photoshop. So let's look together at what that would look like. So here I have a picture from my interior. I'm going to open that in Photoshop directly. And this is not my interior, but you get the idea. And then I'm going to go directly back into Finder, and I'm going to select all of my pictures, and I'm going to drag them all in. So I have them roughly all in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and accept them. And then I'm going to not delete, but I'm going to not look at all of them at the same time because that wouldn't be very useful. So I can have an idea what this photo would look like right here on my wall. I can go ahead, I'm going to choose another one. Oh, actually this is a very nice winter scene. And if that were above my couch, how does that make me feel? So this gives you an idea. Once you bring in all the photos that you like, then you can consider them for a wall print, and you'll actually have a great idea of what they would look like on the wall. And you know what? You might even decide that they all look so good that you're going to want to choose all of them to order as a print. With exposure, that's possible because you can get a 4-pack. Then you would just have them all. So you can just consider one by one. Oh, that one looks great too. Actually, I like that light in there. And so this is a really great do-it-yourself trick that would let you know exactly what your photos would look like on the wall before you order them. We're going to get more into colors in Lesson 2 when we talk about how you can use photos to create different effects in your room. So make sure to join me for that lesson. And thanks for joining me for this one, Step 2 on photo composition, sharpness, and color. I'll see you again soon for the last step of Lesson 1, Step 3, choosing photos that make you happy. Until then, make raw, not war.